Okay, before we begin, just take a slow breath with me. In and hold it for just a second. And now, let it go. For the next little while, I want you to try something. I want you to just stop running through the mental calendar, stop thinking about what's for dinner, even stop worrying about that little notification that just popped up on your screen. Just be here. If you can, imagine yourself sitting in a heavy, comfortable chair, maybe in a room with some soft amber light. The noise of the day is, well, it's settling, isn't it? It's like dust motes you see dancing in a sunbeam before they finally find the floor. We aren't here to rush through a list of facts today. That's not the goal. We're not here to, optimize you or hack your biology in some frantic attempt to be better. We're here to explore something much more intimate. We are here to explore you.
It's such a rare luxury, isn't it?
It really is.
To simply pause and turn the gaze inward. We spend so much of our lives looking out, scanning for threats, looking for opportunities, tending to the needs of the people we love. But today, we're going to turn that light around. We're going to look at the internal landscape. And specifically, we're going to explore a conversation, one that's been happening inside you since the moment you were born, a constant dialogue between your gut and your brain. It's this quiet, constant hum that really dictates so much of how you experience the world.
Before we even get into the science of it all, I want to see if we can locate a feeling, a specific feeling within that landscape. I think you know the one I'm talking about. It's that knot, that tightness in your stomach that feels like a clenched fist. Maybe you felt it this morning before a difficult meeting at work. Or maybe it's just a low-level hum that's been there for weeks, a kind of background static that you've just learned to ignore.
Yeah.
It's that sensation that tells you something is wrong, long before your mind even has the words for it. And for so many of us, that sensation, that's the beginning of a really, really frustrating loop.
It is a loop.
You feel that physical discomfort, the bloating, the pain, the unease, and then almost instantly, your mind just starts to race.
And that racing mind, it just feeds right back into the body.
It becomes a spiral.
Exactly. And I think it's so important to say right here at the very start, if you have felt this, if you have ever felt trapped between physical pain and mental unrest, you are not imagining it.
Yes.
You've probably been told, maybe by friends who mean well, or even a doctor in a rushed appointment, that it's just stress.
Oh, that phrase.
Or that you just need to, eat better and relax.
The stress. It can feel so incredibly dismissive.
It is.
It lands so heavy because it implies that what you're feeling isn't real, or even worse, that it's some kind of failure of your character. It suggests that if you were just a stronger person or a calmer person, your stomach wouldn't hurt. It makes the pain feel like your fault.
A personal failing.
But the whole mission of this deep dive today is to explore the truth of it. And the truth is, this is not a character flaw. It is biology.
Tangible biology.
Tangible, measurable biology. It is the machinery of your body doing exactly what it was designed to do, even if the result is painful.
Exactly. The confusion you feel, the exhaustion from trying to figure out why a bad day at work causes actual pain.
And then why that pain causes so much worry.
That's the sound of the system that's calling for your attention. So our intention today is to offer you a framework, not a prescription, not a set of rigid rules, but a map.
A map for self-discovery.
Yes. We want to help you move from that place of confusion to a place of clarity where you can start to understand the language your own body is speaking.
So let's walk into this internal world together. If it feels right for you, you can close your eyes or just soften your gaze for a moment. And I want you to imagine a highway, but not a loud concrete one with, honking cars and brake lights. Think of it more like a deep, silent underwater current. This is the gut-brain axis. It's a term we hear thrown around all the time in wellness circles, but let's really sit with what it means. It's a bidirectional communication highway.
Bidirectional is the key word. That's the whole story right there.
It's a two-way street.
Absolutely. It's a constant, quiet conversation that's happening just beneath the surface of your conscious thought. We've historically had this very top-down view of the body, The brain is the CEO sitting up in the tower of the skull.
Barking orders down to the factory floor.
Exactly, barking orders down. But that's just not accurate. The body is constantly sending these incredibly detailed reports up to the brain. So yes, thoughts flow down to the gut. But gut feelings, and I mean that quite literally, they flow up to the mind.
And we should be clear, this isn't just a metaphor for, intuition or having a hunch.
No, not at all.
There is a physical structure that makes this possible. It's called the vagus nerve.
I love that name.
Me too. It sounds like a character from some epic fantasy novel, The Wanderer.
And that's actually what the Latin root means, the wanderer.
No way.
Yes. And it's just such a beautiful description for a nerve that absolutely refuses to stay in one lane. Imagine a river. It originates in your brainstem, which is the very oldest, most primal part of you.
Right.
And from there, it winds its way down. It touches your heart, helping to keep the beat steady. It wraps around your lungs, regulating every breath you take.
Wow.
It even controls your vocal cords, allowing you to speak your truth. And then it travels all the way down into the darkness of your abdomen and roots itself deep into your gut. It's the longest cranial nerve in the entire body.
So it's basically a direct fiber optic cable.
That's a great
A
analogy.
dedicated line connecting the headquarters in your head to the, I don't know, the engine room in your belly.
And this line is never, ever disconnected. It is always active. It's always humming with data.
It's not a line you can just hang up.
Never. It is always carrying messages.
Yeah.
And let's just slow down for a second and look at how that actually works, because this is where the real insight is.
Yeah.
So let's say you eat something, or maybe there's a shift in the bacteria living in your gut.
Okay.
That event, that physical change, activates the nerve endings of the vagus nerve right there in your stomach lining. And it sends a signal rushing up that river all the way back to the brainstem. Specifically, it goes to a place called the nucleus tractus solitarius, the NTS.
The NTS, it sounds like some kind of relay station in a spy movie.
Chuckles.
It kind of is.
A quiet room somewhere where all the secret wires meet.
That's exactly what it is. It's a sorting center. It receives all of this sensory input from the gut, things like pressure, chemical changes, inflammation, and it relays that information to the higher areas of the brain. But here's the crucial part.
Okay.
It doesn't relay it to your logic centers. It relays it to the limbic system.
The emotional brain. The parts responsible for your emotions, your fear, your stress response. This is why you can't just think your way out of a stomachache sometimes. The signal has physically bypassed your logic lander and plugged directly into the emotional core of your brain.
This totally explains that butterflies sensation. You know, you're about to go on stage or have a really difficult conversation with someone, and bam, your stomach just drops. We have all felt that. But I want you, listening right now, to think about what happens when those butterflies don't go away.
Right.
When that signal escalates from just a flutter into full-blown anxiety, it really is the physical manifesting as the emotional. It's the body gripping the mind.
And it speaks a very specific language. The gut and the brain, they don't communicate in English. They communicate in chemistry.
With neurotransmitters.
Exactly, neurotransmitters. And we usually think of these as brain chemicals, right? Things that live exclusively up in the cranium.
Dopamine, serotonin.
Things we try to modulate with medication that targets the brain. But this is where the story gets so fascinating. Let's talk about serotonin for a minute.
Serotonin, the happy molecule, the great stabilizer. We're taught to believe this is the stuff of the mind, the architect of our mental well-being.
That's the common story.
Yeah.
And yet, if we look at the hard biology, we find a surprise that it changes the whole paradigm. Ready for this? 90 to 95% of your body's serotonin is not made in your brain.
Wow.
It is synthesized in your intestines.
Just let that sink in for a moment. I really want to pause on that.
It's worth pausing on.
Over 90%. Over 90% of the chemical that regulates your mood, your sleep, your sense of stability and joy is being built in your gut. It's like finding out the engine of your car isn't under the hood at all. It's in the trunk. It just changes how you think about everything.
It really does. It's produced by these highly specialized cells called enterochromaffin cells, and they line the gut wall. They're like these tiny little sentries just constantly detecting what's happening in your digestive tract.
So they're influenced by the environment down there.
Directly. So just imagine this with me. If your gut environment is inflamed, if it's irritated, if the bacterial balance is off, the very production of joy or stability is disrupted at the factory level.
It changes everything about how we look at low moods or anxiety. It's not just all in your head.
Not at all.
It's in your belly. If the factory's on fire, you can't ship the product. You can't build the house if the lumberyard is burning down.
Precisely. And it's not just serotonin. There's another really important molecule called GABA.
GABA.
Gamma-aminobutyric acid. This is the chemical that promotes calm. It's what breaks the loop of anxiety. It quiets the noise.
So it's like the brakes for the nervous system.
The brakes, that's a perfect way to describe it. And gut activity modulates the production and reception of this too. So when we talk about this gut-brain axis, we're really talking about the fundamental machinery of your mood being constructed in the dark, quiet curves of your intestines.
But there's another element here that we have to talk about. We aren't alone in there.
No, we are not.
We have company. We need to talk about the microbiome.
The hidden community. Trillions of tiny residents. Bacteria, fungi, viruses. It's so easy to think of them as just germs or, passive guests that we're just carrying around.
Right.
But the science is showing us so clearly that they are active participants in your well-being. They are working for you. In a very real sense, they are part of you.
I like to think of them as like a bustling city.
I like that.
And when the city is healthy, the garbage collectors are working, the police are calm, the infrastructure is solid. There's a real rhythm to the streets.
And their job is absolutely crucial. They digest things that you cannot. And in doing that, they produce these things called metabolites.
Byproducts of their own metabolism.
Exactly. And one of the most important of these is a short-chain fatty acid called butyrate. Butyrate is like a soothing balm for your gut lining. It actively reduces inflammation. It strengthens the tight junctions between your cells. It supports the whole gut barrier. It's sending a constant signal to the body that says, all is well here. We are safe.
So when this community, this city is in balance, they are sending signals of safety.
All the time.
They're quieting the alarm bells. They're the peacekeepers.
Yes. But consider the alternative. Consider what happens when that city is in chaos. The scientific term for this is dysbiosis, an imbalance in this community.
Okay.
Maybe the helpful residents have been reduced by a course of antibiotics or chronic stress or a diet that just doesn't feed them properly. And the more chaotic, opportunistic ones have started to take over. When this happens, those soothing signals stop. The production of that butyrate just drops, and suddenly there's noise on the line. The quiet of the gut is replaced by this chaotic, inflammatory signal that correlates in study after study with heightened anxiety and depression.
And this brings us to a difficult reality, one that I know many of you listening have probably faced. The disruption. The moment when that signal goes wrong. We need to talk about irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, and its constant shadow anxiety. It's a label that so many people carry, often with a real sense of resignation, like there's nothing to be done.
It is a heavy topic, and I think it's important that we approach it with a lot of compassion. The data is, it's staggering. It tells us there is a massive overlap. Up to 39% of patients with IBS also experience diagnosed anxiety.
39%. That's not a coincidence.
It's not a coincidence at all. That is a causal connection. It speaks to the tightness of that loop we mentioned earlier.
It's that cycle of discomfort we touched on. The irritation in the gut sends a distress signal up to the brain, which alters your mood. And then the brain, feeling that distress, that anxiety, releases stress hormones. It just feels like a trap you can't get out of.
Cortisol, adrenaline. These are the big ones. And these hormones are designed to save your life if you're, being chased by a tiger.
Fight or flight.
Right. They shunt blood away from your digestive system and send it to your muscles, to your legs, so you can run. But in the context of our modern chronic stress, they disrupt digestion. They alter the motility, the movement of the gut.
So things either speed up or slow down.
Exactly. They can make things spasm, which can cause diarrhea, or they can stop things cold, causing constipation. So the anxiety makes the gut worse, and then the gut issues make the anxiety worse.
It's a vicious feedback loop.
And inside that loop, there's a concept from the scientific literature that I think you'll find incredibly validating.
Okay.
It's called visceral hypersensitivity. And I want you to really hear that term.
Visceral hypersensitivity.
This is a profound concept for anyone who has ever felt crazy or been told it's all in your head because of their pain. Visceral hypersensitivity is the idea that the brain is listening too closely to the gut.
Oh, wow.
It's like the volume knob on that communication line has been turned all the way up to maximum.
So normal sensations.
Normal sensations. Things like gas moving through your system, digestion just happening, the normal expansion of your stomach after a meal, things that most people wouldn't even consciously notice are being interpreted by your brain as pain, as an alarm, as a threat.
So it's not that you're being overly sensitive or dramatic.
Not at all.
It's that your internal amplifier is literally set to maximum. Your body is trying so hard to protect you by alerting you to every single little movement, but it's overwhelming.
Exactly. The threshold for what registers as pain is lowered. And this is often coupled with something else called leaky gut.
Leaky gut. Or increased intestinal permeability.
Yes. And I know the term sounds a bit unpleasant, but the simplest way to think of it is that the border control is failing. The intestinal wall is meant to be this incredibly strong border, even though it's only one cell thick. It's held together by these things called tight junctions.
And it decides what gets in and what stays out.
Precisely. It lets the good stuff in, the nutrients, and it keeps the bad stuff out, toxins, undigested food particles.
Mm.
But when that barrier is weakened, maybe by stress or gluten for some people, or that dysbiosis we talked about, substances start to pass through that just shouldn't be there.
So the gate is left open. The walls have been breached.
The walls have been breached. And when those substances, things with names like lipopolysaccharides or LPS, get through into your bloodstream, the immune system sees them as invaders.
And it launches an attack.
It launches an attack. Systemic inflammation starts to rise throughout your body. And we are learning more and more every day that this inflammation influences brain function.
Yeah.
It can cross the blood-brain barrier. It clouds the mind. It triggers that sense of brain fog, that fatigue, that profound and unsettling unease. It basically creates a weather system in your mind that you never asked for.
I want to just take a reflective pause here, just for a few seconds. If you're listening to this and any of this is resonating, if you have felt this, the pain that feels too loud, the brain fog that just won't lift, the anxiety that seems to come from absolutely nowhere, I want you to know that this validates your reality. You are not making it up. The pain is real. The anxiety is a physiological response to a biological breach. It is not a character flaw. It's a signal.
It is a signal. And the most beautiful thing about a signal is, well, it means you can listen to it.
There's information there.
There is information there. It means your body is speaking to you.
And that, right there, that is the invitation. What if we just listened? Not with fear, not with judgment, but with simple curiosity. This is where we want to introduce the concept of tracking. Now, I know that word can sound like work. It sounds like obsessive data logging or calorie counting or judgment. Another chore in your to-do list.
Yeah, it can be intimidating.
But I want us to reframe it.
Let's call it self-observation.
I like that.
Or maybe paying attention to the conversation. The goal isn't to create a perfect spreadsheet to show your doctor, though you can. The real goal is to spot these invitations for self-discovery. The reason generic advice so often fails, the reason eat more fiber or just relax doesn't work for so many people, is because it completely ignores your unique biology.
You are not a statistic.
You are not a statistic. You are a universe. You're an ecosystem that is entirely your own.
So how do we start to observe this universe? We suggest 4 pillars of observation, 4 simple things to just notice in your daily life. And the first one is food.
Food, the most fundamental input. And we ask you to simply start noticing how you feel after you eat, not just in your stomach, but in your head, in your energy levels. We're not here to demonize any food groups or tell you what to banish forever, but we do have to look at the common triggers that can challenge that gut barrier.
Right.
Gluten, for example. We know that in some bodies, it triggers the release of a protein called zonulin, which literally tells those tight junctions we spoke of to open up, contributing to leakiness.
Or dairy.
Yes. Lactose sensitivities are incredibly common, especially as we age. We start to lose the enzyme needed to break it down properly. And then there's a big group of carbohydrates called FODMAPs.
FODMAPs.
They're fermentable carbs found in things like onions, garlic, apples, wheat. A lot of healthy foods. But in a sensitive gut, they can ferment very quickly.
They create gas.
A lot of gas.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure. And that pressure pushes against the gut wall. And what does it do? It triggers the vagus nerve, sending that alarm signal straight to the brain.
And the invitation here is just to connect that feeling of pressure to the feeling in your mind. Does that brain fog roll in an hour after you eat pasta? Does your mood dip after your morning latte? It's not about guilt, it's just about data.
It's about data.
It's about noticing the texture of your reality shifting based on what you ate.
It's about looking for the echo, the ripple effect.
The second pillar then is stress. And this one is so tricky because we get used to our own stress. We swim in it like water.
We don't even notice it's wet.
Exactly, not until we're drowning.
We numb ourselves to it. We just start to think it's normal to feel that way.
Yeah.
So the suggestion here is incredibly simple. Just note your daily stress on a scale of 1 to 10. That's it, just a number. But then, and this is key, observe how you feel the next day.
Oh, the delay.
The gut is often on a delay. It's reacting to the chemical bath of stress hormones you soaked it in yesterday. It takes time for that tide to go out. Does a stressful deadline on Tuesday lead to a stomachache on Wednesday?
Okay, pillar number 3 is sleep.
The great restorer.
The time when the body gets to repair the house.
We honestly cannot overstate the power of sleep for the microbiome. Your gut bacteria have circadian rhythms, just like you do.
That's fascinating.
They anticipate when you're going to eat. They anticipate when you're going to rest. And they need that downtime to repair the gut lining, to restore diversity. So if you track your sleep, and not just the hours, but the quality, you might start to see a very clear pattern. Poor sleep often leads to poor microbial diversity, which leads to a higher stress response the next day. It just makes you more fragile.
It's all connected. It's like the little city inside you gets jet lag when you stay up too late.
That's a perfect way to put it. It disorients them.
And finally, the fourth pillar, symptoms.
This is where we bring it all together. The physical and the emotional. Log the bloating. Log the pain. But right alongside it, log the anxiety. Log the worry. Log the brain fog. You're essentially writing down the weather report for your mind.
And then you can look for the order of operations. Which one comes first? Does the bloating start, and then the worry follows it like a shadow? Or does the worry start first, and then your stomach clenches in response?
Finding that which came first moment,
Yeah.
that is such a powerful key. It can unlock the whole mystery. It tells you which lever you might need to pull. If the anxiety always comes first, maybe we need to support the nervous system with things like breath work or meditation. If the bloating always comes first, maybe we really need to look at the food or digestive enzymes.
So you have these observations. You're starting to see the invisible threads connecting your lunch to your mood, your sleep to your pain. Now, we invite you to become the detective. We want to introduce you to something called the N of 1 method.
The N of 1 concept is a term that comes from clinical science. In a standard clinical trial, the letter N represents the number of participants. And usually you want your N to be thousands, right?
The bigger, the better.
You want these big averages to prove that a drug works for most people. But here's the problem with averages. They completely erase the individual. If a drug works for 60% of people but actually hurts the other 40%, the average will say it works. But if you are in that 40%, that average is not just useless to you, it's dangerous.
So in this method, N is 1.
N is 1.
You are the only subject. You are the entire study. You are the universe being observed.
Precisely. It gives you permission to ignore what most people do.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if kale is a superfood for most people. If it hurts you, it's not good for you. In an N of 1 experiment, you are testing a specific hypothesis on your own unique biology. You are both the scientist and the subject.
Okay, so let's walk through how to do this gently, without a lot of pressure. Because this isn't about rigid, stressful testing. It's about trying something new just to see how it feels.
The first step is to formulate a hypothesis, and you do that based on your tracking. So let's say you suspect that dairy might be contributing to your brain fog. You've noticed a pattern. So your hypothesis is, does avoiding dairy quiet my mind?
Quiet my mind. I really like that phrasing. It's not just stop the bloating. It's about the mental result you're actually looking for, the peace.
The connection is the entire point. So the process is to track for a set period of time, let's say 4 to 6 weeks, and you alternate periods. You spend 2 weeks eating as you normally would. That's your baseline. And you capture how you feel. Then you spend 2 weeks completely avoiding dairy. That's your intervention. Then, and I know this can be the hard part, you might reintroduce it for a few days to see if the symptoms come back.
And all the while, you're watching the data. You're looking back at those logs you kept, the notes on your phone or in your journal.
And you're looking for patterns, not proofs. We are not writing a medical paper here. We're looking for lifestyle trends.
Yeah.
Imagine a little line graph in your mind. Does the line for anxiety drop during the weeks that the dairy was gone? Does the line for sleep quality go up? Does the fog actually lift?
It sounds so simple on the surface, but it does require consistency. It's a practice. It requires showing up for yourself, for your own experiment, every day.
Consistency over perfection. That's the mantra. If you miss a day of logging, it's fine. It doesn't ruin the experiment. Just keep observing. You are slowly, patiently building a high-resolution picture of your own inner workings. You are getting to know yourself in a way you probably never have before.
And through this process, we want you to cultivate the mindset of a health detective. It's a mindset of deep curiosity. Curiosity over certainty. And curiosity over fear.
That is such a beautiful and important shift. Instead of being afraid of your symptoms, you become curious about them. You can just say, oh, that's interesting. My stomach hurts today. I wonder what happened yesterday that might have led to this.
And if you find a connection, say, between your leaky gut symptoms and your mood, that discovery is incredibly empowering. It means you aren't helpless.
It's not a life sentence. It's a clue.
It's a clue.
It's a key. It opens a door. It's a truth. And the truth allows you to act. It suggests that these small tweaks, mindful eating, changing your inputs, fiercely protecting your sleep, can lead to profound shifts in how you feel. You start to realize you are not broken. You are simply a system that is responding to inputs, and you have the power to change the inputs. You can change the conversation.
As we start to come to the end of our time together, I want to just look back at the landscape we've traversed. We've walked along the winding river of the vagus nerve. We've visited that bustling industrial city of the microbiome. We've acknowledged the difficult, painful feedback loop of anxiety and IBS and that volume knob of visceral hypersensitivity.
And through it all, we have seen that the body and the mind are not separate entities fighting with each other. They are one system, humming together, constantly talking. The gut is not just a food tube, it's a sensing organ. It truly is a second brain.
And I think, most importantly, we've tried to hand the power back to you. You are the ultimate authority on your own health. Not a guru, not a podcast host, not even a doctor who only gets to see you for 15 minutes once a year. You live in this house. You know where the floorboards creak. You know where the drafts come from.
You may have felt failed by generic advice in the past. You may have felt unheard or dismissed. But this act, the act of tracking, of listening, of using this N of one method, this is an act of profound self-respect. It's an act of self-love. It's you saying, I am worth understanding. My pain is worth investigating.
There are resources out there, of course, if you want them. The Lunari Labs Guide, the Pioneers Program. These are tools for those who want to go deeper. But the most important tool that's already with you, it is your own awareness.
Awareness is the first step. It is the light that illuminates the path forward. Without it, we're just walking in the dark. With it, we can begin to navigate. We can find our way home to ourselves.
So as you move back into your day or into your evening, just carry this question with you. Hold it gently. Don't force an answer. What might your body tell you if you take a moment to truly listen?
Listen to the quiet signals.
Thank you for being here with us today. Be well.